If you have ever walked out to your garden and noticed the leaves on your tomatoes, roses, or peppers turning an odd pale yellow between the veins, while the veins themselves stay stubbornly green, you have likely met one of the most common and most misunderstood problems in home gardening. Most people assume it means the plant needs water, or worse, they assume it is dying and give up on it entirely, sometimes even pulling out a perfectly salvageable plant out of frustration. In most cases, neither is true. What that plant is actually asking for has been sitting in your bathroom cabinet the whole time, in a bag most of us only think to reach for after a long day on our feet. Epsom salt. This is not a new discovery, and it is not some clever internet hack dreamed up last year. Gardeners have quietly relied on Epsom salt for generations, long before garden centers sold specialty fertilizers in every color and size of bottle. Grandmothers who grew the family's tomatoes and roses without ever setting foot in a store used a spoonful of this exact same substance, and many of them could tell you exactly why it worked, even if they never used the scientific word for it. Let's talk about what is actually happening in that yellowing leaf, because understanding the reason makes this trick something you can trust, not just something you try and hope for the best. Epsom salt is not table salt at all, despite sharing the name. It is magnesium sulfate, and magnesium is one of the essential minerals every plant needs to produce chlorophyll, the very substance that gives healthy leaves their deep green color. Magnesium sits at the very center of every chlorophyll molecule, the same way iron sits at the center of the hemoglobin in our own blood, which is part of why its absence shows up so clearly and so specifically. When a plant does not have enough magnesium available to it, it cannot produce chlorophyll properly, especially in its older lower leaves, and the result is exactly that pale, yellowing pattern between the veins, while the veins themselves often stay green a little longer because the plant prioritizes them last. This particular pattern is one of the clearest, most recognizable signs of magnesium deficiency in the entire garden, and it shows up again and again in the same plants every single year. Tomatoes, roses, and peppers being some of the most common sufferers. Soil can lose its magnesium over time for a few simple reasons. Years of the same plants growing in the same spot draw the mineral out season after season, especially heavy feeders like tomatoes and roses that put so much energy into fruit and blooms. Heavy rain can wash it deeper into the soil than a plant's roots can easily reach, and container gardening, which so many of us rely on now with smaller yards and smaller gardens than our mothers and grandmothers had, tends to lose nutrients even faster, since watering a pot naturally flushes minerals out through the drainage holes far more than watering an open garden bed ever would. If you have noticed this pattern showing up more in your patio pots than in an in-ground bed, this is very likely why, and it is nothing to be concerned about, just something worth addressing on a regular basis. Now let's get into exactly how to use Epsom salt correctly, because as with anything that actually works, the method matters just as much as the ingredient itself. The first and simplest method is a foliar spray, meaning you apply it directly to the leaves rather than the soil, and this tends to show results the fastest. Dissolve 2 tablespoons of Epsom salt into a gallon of water, stirring until it is completely dissolved, since any undissolved granules will not do your leaves any good sitting on the surface. Pour the mixture into a spray bottle, an ordinary one you might already use for misting houseplants, and mist the leaves thoroughly, paying particular attention to the undersides, since that is where plants absorb nutrients most efficiently through their leaf tissue. Do this early in the morning or in the evening, never in the harsh heat of midday sun, since wet leaves under strong direct sun can sometimes scorch. Many gardeners notice a visible difference within a week to 10 days, the yellowing leaves gradually deepening back toward a healthy green as the plant's chlorophyll production recovers, often faster than they expected from something so simple. The second method is a soil drench, and this works more slowly, but treats the underlying issue at the root level rather than just the leaves you can see. Use the same ratio, 2 tablespoons of Epsom salt dissolved completely into a gallon of water, and pour it directly around the base of the plant instead of misting the leaves. This lets the roots take up magnesium gradually over the following weeks, which makes it a better ongoing maintenance habit than an emergency fix. Many longtime gardeners use this method once a month during the growing season as simple preventive care. the same quiet habit their own mothers followed without ever writing it down as a formal routine, just something you did because the garden always looked better for it. I want to be honest with you about something here. The same way we have been honest about every trick on this channel, because a genuinely useful tip loses all its value the moment it gets oversold. Not every yellow leaf is a magnesium problem. Nitrogen deficiency causes yellowing too, but it typically shows up as the entire leaf turning uniformly pale, veins included, rather than the specific between the veins pattern magnesium deficiency causes. Overwatering and root problems can also cause yellowing that looks similar at a glance, and no amount of Epsom salt will fix a plant that is simply sitting in soil that never drains properly. If your pot has no drainage holes, or your garden bed stays soggy for days after every rain, that is the problem to solve first, before reaching for any mineral supplement at all. If you apply this trick and see no improvement within 2 to 3 weeks, it is worth looking at your watering habits and your soil drainage before assuming you need more Epsom salt, since more is genuinely not better here. Over-applying magnesium can throw off a plant's uptake of other nutrients it needs just as much, so stick to the same ratio consistently rather than reaching for a stronger mix out of impatience. It is also worth mentioning that not every garden needs this at all. If your soil already has plenty of magnesium, which is more common than people assume in areas with naturally mineral-rich soil, adding more will not make an already healthy plant grow even better. This trick is specifically for correcting a deficiency, not a general-purpose miracle fertilizer to apply to everything indiscriminately. The clearest sign you actually needed is that specific yellowing pattern between the veins, especially on your tomatoes, roses, and peppers, the same plants that have quietly struggled with this in gardens for generations. There is something wonderfully simple about this particular trick that I appreciate more the longer I work with it. A bag of Epsom salt costs next to nothing, lasts an entire season, and then some, and does double duty sitting in your bathroom for its more familiar use as well, soaking tired feet or easing sore muscles at the end of a long day in the garden. You are not buying a specialty product made just for gardening. You're using the exact same jar that has probably been in your home for years, for a purpose your own family may have quietly used it for long before either of us were born. Combine this with the eggshell calcium trick, the coffee ground and banana peel fertilizer, and the wood ash mineral supplement we have covered on this channel, and you are building a genuinely complete nutritional toolkit for your garden using nothing but ordinary household items. The exact same quiet resourcefulness that kept gardens thriving long before every solution came premixed in a plastic bottle from the store. If you have a tomato plant, a rose bush, or a pepper plant showing that telltale yellow pattern right now, this is worth trying this week. Mix up a simple batch, apply it in the cool of the morning, and give it about 10 days before you check back in. More often than not, you will see exactly what generations of gardeners before you already knew to expect, even if they never had a scientific name for the mineral they were feeding their plants. If this is the first time anyone has explained why this old trick actually works, rather than just telling you to try it, I hope it gives you a little more confidence the next time your garden needs a helping hand, whether that is this particular yellowing pattern or something else entirely. Try it this week, and let me know in the comments how your plants respond. Until next time, take care of your garden and take care of your family.